Okay. Right. Today I'd like to talk to you about my experience with extending YooTheme Pro, looking at advanced layouts, data source enhancements, and filtering. Just get the notes up here. So I'll just say a few words about myself to start with. I've been developing Joomla extensions since 2005. I don't know who is still here, who was around back then. There was something called Joomfish, which was a tool for translating Joomla content, which has since become Falang. I was involved in that right at the beginning. JEvents is my baby, which I've been working with for countless years. Your Sites, which is a site management system, so it's a Joomla component you can install to manage multiple client sites, updates, tracking the uptime, their performance, and so forth. And EasyLayouts, which is a tool that's been around for about 7 or 8 years now. Basically allows you to create template overrides without any coding. But I'll come into that in just a few more minutes in more detail. So I want to talk a bit about, well, quite a lot about YooTheme, because the whole presentation is really about YooTheme, but I'm fairly new to YooTheme, and what I've felt in coming to it was that it's very easy to create slick, sexy looking websites. And you can extend that with custom elements, custom data sources, and some conditionality on those data sources in the display, thanks to Zoolanders. EasyLayouts, on the other hand, allows you to build template overrides. We can do that for content, categories, tags, contacts, users, finder, results, pretty much anything in the Joomla core. You can customize the output of it using EasyLayouts without needing any coding. It's all a drag and drop interface. You can create very sophisticated context-aware layouts, so what is displayed is very much driven by what you want to be displayed in that context, be it a menu item, category, language, placement on the page, and so forth. And also we've implemented a lot of advanced filtering into menu items and modules, and there's a filter module and everything, and they interact with the Joomla core models and allow you to change the behavior of the Joomla core menu items and the core article modules. But it's not always easy to use. It takes a fair amount of skill to create really sexy websites, and you really need to know a reasonable amount about HTML and CSS to be able to get the best out of it. So my thought was, could you get the best of both worlds? Could I bring some of my experience and the capabilities of EasyLayouts and bring it into the YooTheme world, as it were? So, a health warning first. I'm fairly new to YooTheme, so if I get something wrong and it's already there, or there's different ways of doing it, point it out, but please don't jump down my throat, because I'm new to it. And I know that parts of what I'm going to present can be done already. And Zoolanders has a lot of very sophisticated data source filtering and so forth. I probably don't know all the functionality that it has, and there's a whole slew of add-on custom elements that you can add. But even taking all that into account, I found I was still frustrated by what I couldn't do. I was coming from a traditional Joomla environment. I've been used to using something like EasyLayouts to be able to create complex websites, and I found that I couldn't do what I needed to do in YooTheme. So I started experimenting. Some of the frustrations I found were that I couldn't have menu item specific templates. I wanted to basically show the same material, the same content on different menu items, but in a different way. So you basically have one way of displaying a particular category blog, or one way of showing a particular category of content item, but I wanted it to be different based on the menu item. A use case might be, I know Philip had a brewery that he was doing a website for, and he wanted to show a list of beers, but he wants to show them for different purposes. One might be focused on flavor, maybe another one might be focused on alcohol content, and you want to be able to show the same material on different menu items in a different way. YooTheme very helpfully has a custom 404 page, so why not a custom offline page or a custom 403 page? I wanted to be able to filter menu items, data sources, and modules, probably just using the mechanisms I was familiar with, not necessarily the mechanisms that Zoolanders has, but basically filtering the core Joomla menu items. This might be just a really little thing, but I found in some places that language overrides weren't being picked up. So I'd have a translation for particular strings, and YooTheme kept producing the original language version of it instead of the translation. Going on from that, I wanted to be able to customize the smart search and filter results. I found that the modal, grid, and panel elements were a bit constraining. I wanted to basically not just have 3 fields that I could set. I wanted to have free-form control of my grids and my modals and so forth. I know there are elements that can do that, but when I've looked at some of them, they're very, very confusing and complex, and I didn't have the hours necessary to be able to get my head around them, so I thought I'd work on my own. Another one coming from Joomla, where you have a template and then you have content. You want the same template to appear on different pages. So you want the framework of the page to stay the same, but you want the content section, as it were, to change from side to side, from page to page. So in YooTheme, the only way I could find to do that was to replicate the page or the structure onto multiple templates. Whereas I thought, well, why can't we have a template wrapper, a template that's designed to be a wrapper around a sub-element or a part of the page, so that you then choose that part of the page and say, which parent wrapper template do I want it to live in? I wanted custom editing pages for articles. Why not have reusable sub-layouts? You know, if I've got an author sub-layout, I want that author sub-layout to be on all my different pages, all my different layouts. I want to reuse the same block of code. And if I change that block of code, it changes across all the pages. Why have to edit every single one? Custom user registration and profile pages, another one. So these are all things that I could do already in EasyLayouts, but not necessarily very prettily, but I wanted to be able to do them in YooTheme. So that's what I set about trying to do. And the good news is that I was able to piggyback on a lot of what I'd done already in EasyLayouts through a combination of custom elements, data sources, and some clever bit of black magic, just manipulating some of the layouts via plugins and so forth. I'll show you if I can get to. So that's what EasyLayouts would look like in the Cassiopeia. Oops, got the mouse on the right page. Cassiopeia page. So we have here, this is an imaginary restaurant review site maybe. They have chefs. These are all structures that have been set up to describe the chefs. Category blog, recipes, the layouts. You know, you might not spot it straight away, but these are all very different layouts, have different custom fields, and each of these are structured accordingly. This is all stuff that you can do in YooTheme without any particular difficulty. My restaurant reviews here. We have what we call a floating layout, which allows us to dynamically fetch new content as you scroll down the page. And we have here a module demo. So this is an example of a menu item specific. I'll show you another example here, it's a better one. This menu item here is a category blog, and this is a category blog, but they're both showing the same settings, as it were. Same category, everything else is the same, apart from the layout, which is being driven by the menu item. So this has all been done within EasyLayouts. So what I then did was work on a set of tools to allow us to do the same sort of thing in YooTheme. So we have the same chef page, the chef layouts, and sorry, my menu's being slow, the recipes, floating recipes, and oh yes, I didn't mention the filters. We can filter by allergen, so we don't want to have things including mustard, and all of a sudden the list includes things that don't include mustard, and so forth. So I'm going to go into detail a bit later on about how that was all done. Let's get back to the slides. Not that one. No, not that one. Got to find the right window. That one, yes. Okay. So menu item specific templates. I've already got a free plugin which you can get on the EasyLayouts website. Really, really simple plugin. It just adds a small, and if you can see it in that section there, in your template editing page, you get a little an additional drop down where you can select which menu item to show the layout on, and the menu item is it's aware of the page type. So if it's content page, an articles or a blog content type page, it'll only show you the menu items that are relevant for that particular template. So as I said, it's a free plugin that you can get that now, and no need to wait for that. Custom offline 403 and 404 pages. I'll show you a quick demonstration of that. So I think, just double check that I'm not logged in here. Get the mouse. Screens. I can't see the mouse. Can you see the mouse? Oh, it's up there. All right, go to the home. So I'll make sure I'm logged out. So I've added a editing the chef page. I'm not authorized to do that, so it's a custom 403 page. I've got a 404 example, which is using my own code because I already had it in EasyLayouts, so I just plugged it in. I know you've got a 404 in YooTheme already, but that's the same sort of exercise. And now I shall try, if I can, to put the site offline. Well, do you actually need me to show you that? But basically, you get a custom offline page, and the really clever thing about it is that there's no logon module anywhere visible on the page. So anybody who comes to the site, they can't even access the module for logging into the page unless you put an additional key equals value piece in the string at the end of the URL. So as soon as you put in, actually it's probably worth showing you that. I've got the link here. No, I can't click on that. Get a new tab. That one. Right, okay, let's go to global configuration. Wrong one. Put a site offline. And I go back here and go home. And the page is offline. And the page is constructed using YooTheme. So, you know, everything in that page is YooTheme. All my plugin is doing is telling the site if it wants an offline page to display the YooTheme input that we want on that page. And if we now go to here and add, where is it? My special customizable off key equals off val, you get the login. So you only see the login module when you've put in the specific key equals value string. So I'll get rid of that because it'll hang around, unfortunately. And go back, put the site back online. So I should say, if anybody's got any questions about clarifying what I'm talking about, just ask at the time. If it's something more general, more complex, ask at the end. But you know, if anything's not making any sense, give me a shout. So custom offline, custom 403 and 404 pages, all using YooTheme editing. Right, next slide. Oops, hang on. Right, okay. Wrapper templates. Yeah. So I explained to you that we'd like to be able to, or I'd like to be able to have the same structure on a page and to be able to change various bits of it from page to page without having to recreate all those templates with all the changes. Because I know you can use the library and store a layout and then inject it over and over, but you know, this is a one-off exercise. So I'll show you that in action here. Now this isn't a very pretty example of it, but it's just to show you. Where are we? Recipes. Yes, vegetarian recipes. So this page is using a reusable wrapper. I've created a left sidebar, this module at the top, and then a list of vegetarian menus there. Now I'll show you how that was done in YooTheme briefly. So you're probably all just taking it for my word that this is YooTheme, but actually I promise you it is YooTheme. Go to the templates. At the bottom I have a wrapper template. Oh, I'm not logged in. Sorry. And where am I? Yes, the reason I needed to be logged in is because to create some of these tools, I've had to create hidden menu items, because YooTheme then uses those hidden menu items to control the template. So I needed a hidden menu item to be able to put my wrapper template in. And of course, I don't want that to be a public one either, because that's why you need to be logged in. So this is just it's a panel here, a module position, a page title, and a wrapper template. And that's really, really simple. It's just a small thing that has some names. You don't need any dynamic content or anything. It's just, it does nothing other than create a holding place. So if I now come out of this, where are we? I should probably turn around and look at the vegetarian menu here, which is a category blog page. It's got a sub layout. Nothing very exciting about that yet, but if I go back to the where is it? Here, the recipes on the ... I can here specify the parent layout. So I specified parent layout, and the other template, which I didn't show you this on before, I made that one a parent template. So I've got the choice of parent templates that I've created here, or I could make this. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to have a child that's a parent as well, but yeah, you get the idea. Okay, so that was that. Now the other thing I'm not going to show you, but is something I'm going to be working on in the next few days, is the opposite of a wrapper template, which is basically a repeatable sub layout. Now we already have in EasyLayouts what we call mini layouts, which are basically blocks of code you can reuse. And I'll be able to use exactly the same technique I've used for this wrapper template in reverse, where we can specify a layout which you want to then, or a template I should say, from or a sub layout in YooTheme speak, and to inject that into another template or page. So whenever you create a template or a page, you'd be able to choose a choice of sub layouts that are reusable across all your different pages. So let's go back to the presentation. Is that the one? Yes, here we go. Smart search results. It'd be nice, wouldn't it, to be able to have your recipes and your chefs and your restaurants to look different in the smart search results. Well, you can. Let's go back to the demo. Here, I've got the search in a rather strange place here. So we'll search for chocolate. If I can spell. So these are my recipes. I could also search for Lincoln doesn't get spelt that way. Chef, which is a different layout, and what was the last one? Lemon. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got the same keyword in. I should have thought about this beforehand. I haven't got the same keyword in a recipe as in a restaurant. That would have been a good thing to show. But basically, what you would get is you'd get the layout for a restaurant, and you get the layout for the chef appearing together on the smart search results. So now your chefs don't need to look like recipes anymore. Right, the reason I'm pausing is I've got 3 separate tabs open for my presentation, and if I choose the wrong one, it doesn't switch on the screen. Right, okay. modals, grids, and auto fetching. I've showed you already the auto fetching as you scroll down. I'll show you now the something of the modal, which I didn't do. I was basically wanting a much more sophisticated modal for my input, so I could basically create a free-form input for the modal. You've got the option for what goes into the heading and the footer, and everything else is completely free-form. So there's no complex multiple sub-layouts and elements and things, which I've seen on some of the custom modules, modals that you can, custom modal elements that you can install in YooTheme, and it gives you more flexibility than some of the standard 2 or 3 field inputs. And the same thing with the grid. I know you can do data sources with multiple items now on sub-layouts, but I was using grids at the time, so I basically created a grid that was flexible in the same way as the modal was flexible. Right. I was thinking I was going to be really stretched for time, but I think I'm going to do all right. Yeah, no, I thought I was going to run out of time, but I think I'm doing all right. Right, custom article editing. One of the things that EasyLayouts is really good at is creating custom edit pages for different content types. Now, I know you have pages in YooTheme, and a lot of people would use pages to create articles, sort of like using a block editor in a sense. But if you want structured editing for your chefs and your recipes, you know, let's say you're doing a recipe website and you've got a recipe manager, they don't want a general editing page. They want a page which is customized specifically for recipes. So that's again is something that we do. Some of it is, this is probably an example where more of the functionality is done in EasyLayouts, but we have a hook into YooTheme. If I close this down, I need to log in again. Oh, I'm logged in. Right. So we go back to the chef edit page. This looks really ugly. Really ugly, I warn you in advance. But all I was doing was showing that we've created a custom edit page for the chefs, which is different to other items. I can't remember what else I created, whether I created a custom... did I create a custom... Oh, create recipe, yes, thank you. Yes, so you know, I haven't optimized this for this particular site. It's just to demonstrate that you get a different edit page. It's not just different fields, and there's no template editing involved. It's just a completely different layout for the editing page, and it's specific to that particular item type. Yes, everything can be you can either hide, if they're required fields, you'd need to hide them using CSS. If they're not required fields, then you can leave them out completely. You know, things like you can't create an article without a title, for example. The alias you can hide, things like that.
Also avoid the custom fields are on separate tabs. If you want an oversimplified
yes.
form where
everything is one after the other. Yes, yeah, exactly. And you can even have a show on that you have to fill the fields one at a time. So that, you know, until you fill in the title, you can't fill in the next piece of information and so forth. That's done in EasyLayouts. But what we're doing is implementing a conversion of that into a good UI kit layout. Now, you know, I think it probably would be without too much difficulty possible to do it in YooTheme. But sometimes I found that all the customization settings, setting all that up in the JSON files and so forth, takes a lot of work. So, you know, to rattle off a first generation version, which is what this is, I've used the EasyLayouts. Second generation would be using native YooTheme JSON, element JSONs and so forth, and editing it directly in YooTheme. But no, if there's no demand, there's no interest, then it's not worth my time doing all the work. If there's interest, then, you know, it'll get done. Right. Where are we? Right, okay. Custom user views. We can create custom user registration pages, profile displays, and profile editing. Again, I think, I can't remember looking, it's a while since I looked at that bit of the code. I think we do profile display using YooTheme native. The other two are from EasyLayouts injected into YooTheme. But again, that we'd be able to use custom elements and so forth to create the registration pages within YooTheme without too much difficulty. It's just a matter of the time required to do all the configuration and setting up of the files. So I'll just show you what that looks like. I am logged in, aren't I think? Yeah, so profile edit page. So again, it's not a pretty one. It's just an example to show that you can put custom fields and change things around, because that's clearly not a normal Joomla profile edit page. And back to the slide. The same thing goes for the registration and profile display, which I haven't got examples of, I'm afraid. So all of that. Oh, actually, I haven't shown you one other thing, which is filtering. I seem to have a slide missing for that. It's a bit strange. So I showed you the filtering on the filter module. The filtering on the what was I thinking? Oh yes, so we can edit the. I'll show you actually on the menu editing. Where are we? Here. This one here. It's come back to that. Menu item. Yes, I'll show you a menu item. That's a good idea. No, not that one. I'll get there eventually. Recipes, excluding wheat. So I want a recipe, a page of recipes that don't include wheat as an allergen. So what I've done is, this is not using data sources in YooTheme, because I actually end up having more control from the menu item in Joomla, because there's more, it's easier for me to manipulate that than the data sources. I know that Zoolanders is better at doing that than I am, so I'll leave that to the experts. Main menu, where are we? Get there eventually. Excluding wheat. So what EasyLayouts does is it adds an additional tab into the menu item. And in this case, I'm saying that we want to hide items. Is that big enough people to see? Didn't read it bigger? Yeah. How should the constraints be combined? So we can add multiple constraints on a menu item, and we want to say we want to hide when all the constraints are satisfied. We've got the choice of showing when all satisfied, show when any are satisfied, show when none of them are satisfied, all that sort of combination. We can add a variety of custom fields here, whether the value is equal to, not equal to. You can put regular expressions or MySQL expressions as well, which are useful for dates and so forth. And in this case, so we're saying we want to hide all items where the allergens recipe field is equal to wheat. Equal to actually means contained in this sense, because obviously an allergen, you could have more than one allergen, but it just means that one of them is equal to. And here we have the recipe, which doesn't have any wheat items. And the good thing is also we can say actually we want to not include, what have we got on this one, mustard. Oh, that's not good. Okay, the perils of doing a live demo. That should work. I'll show you that. But when I last tested it, it worked fine. So I need to obviously look at that more closely. It's always the problem with a live demo, isn't it? But you should be able to put a filter in the module, and it will combine with the filter in the menu and do a combined filtering. Yes, yes. Yeah. And one of the, I mentioned about the, this is probably just a really, really minor bug, but the custom fields translations are not being picked up. As you can see it here, I've got here, this is how this allergens field is output by YooTheme as a custom field, but the correct value should be llefrith, which is a Welsh word for milk, and mustard, because I overrode the value of that the field in my template in my language override strings. So it's a really, really minor thing, but basically the language thing wasn't being picked up.
Does it filter on all articles or just on the ones on the page? Like
Just the ones that are selected. So it doesn't pre-select all the articles. So it's not like the dynamic filtering. So the dynamic, if I'm correct, the dynamic filtering in YooTheme gets your 10 or 20 articles and then finds the ones that match. This basically manipulates the Joomla core model for getting items and matches the filters against those, so you only get the ones that are matched.
With pagination, I only show the first 10, but here I filter and I have 3,000 movies.
You'll still get the first 10,
Yeah, okay.
but only the ones that match. So if you've got 10 movies with the name action in the title, and you filter on excluding the word action, then nothing will appear. But basically, it's you won't get. Well, it's not a very good example. So you got 10 with 10 recipes, and 3 of them include milk, and you exclude the ones that include milk, you'll get 7. If you've got 15 that in total, 3 include milk. Without the filter, you'd get 10, because your pagination is set to 10. If you filter for not 3, you'll get 10 with 2 left over on the pagination, instead of 5 left over on the pagination. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I think so. It's not a isotop.
No, it's a full on refetch. Yeah.
Hiding the
No, it's not hiding. No, because you might not have enough results. Yeah.
just to make
Yeah.
sure that it was a real filter on the whole
Yeah.
database.
Right. Let's go back to the presentation. I'll just finish it and then maybe show you how some of the underlying bits work. Yeah, so some features need a little polish. Obviously, there's an issue with that filtering, so I'll double check that. There's going to be Philip and I got a very long train journey back on Monday. Got sitting on the train for 12 hours. So my plan is to package it up and release this on Monday with as many docs as I can write on Monday on the train. And so there's a 50% discount for anybody here and anybody that you want to pass it on to for the next week and a day. I think it runs out on Tuesday, the week after next, which is DACH 2024. There's more features coming soon, the reusable sub-layouts, and I'm always open to new ideas, because Philip suggested he was frustrated by the menu item ID, and I realized it wasn't difficult to do, and he had it the next day as a plugin. So anything that you feel you want that might not be going to be part of the YooTheme core, and you want some ideas how to get them implemented, give me a shout. I might be able to help. Does anybody want to see any of the innards? A bit more of how any of that's done? Anything in particular?
Somebody else wants to see something. The smart search where you could mix.
Oh right, I'll edit one of the articles. Yes, you want me to, I can edit a couple of the items, put some common language in. Actually, no, there is a common language. I just realised. Let's go.
Did I understand correctly that if you make a smart search,
Yeah,
you can get items from different categories?
yeah.
Some
Yes, not
movies
yes.
and
Yes, exactly.
have its own layout.
Yes. So, lorem. There we go. So, first one's a recipe. The second one's a restaurant. Third one's a restaurant. That's a restaurant. Fetching more. There's a chef. Some chefs. Another recipe and so forth. So each one, you can see they're all laid out differently based on the particular type of item that you're displaying.
Particularly like the point that we talked about on the train, where if you've got an author profile, the problem that I have at the moment with YooTheme is if I'm duplicating it through templates, then if I want to then go, oh damn, I forgot that field.
Yeah.
I've literally got to go through and
All of them,
re-edit it
yes.
again.
Yeah.
Whereas with your profile thing, you just edit it. So I think that's a point to bring through. And it will then change it throughout
All your article pages, yes, and all your article templates, yeah. So yes, and just show you the filter on that. So when you're doing, let's go back to here. Right. Yes, I was going to show you the menu item. So we have here the recipe page. It's limited by categories and tags, and it's visible on the recipes. These are the menu items that layout is used on. And if I go to the floating recipes, oh, wrong one. I go to the floating recipes page. It's just used on the floating recipes menu item, but everything else about it is exactly the same in terms of the configuration. What else is useful to show you? Yes, the
template is assigned to two templates are assigned to the same
menu item.
Yeah,
It'll be the first one that's matched.
Yeah.
So it's the same. It's the same thing. It's the cascading.
Okay.
So you need to make sure they're in the right order.
That's the same in using Pro. If
Yeah.
you do double.
Yes,
Yeah.
but because we're layering in a new template match requirement, it does override the generic ones. So you don't need to have the generic ones, you know, because it's a specific to the menu item. Yeah. Right, I showed you about the sub wrappers and the wrappers. I showed you. Oh yeah, 403. It's just a page, and within EasyLayouts, I specify that menu item, which is a hidden menu item, is going to be my 403 page. But I create the page in YooTheme.
Can you show the EasyLayouts?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's very different. It's nowhere near as sexy, I warn you now. Nowhere near as sexy as YooTheme. I'll show you that option first. If I go here. Error offline and online pages. I can specify a 403 page, and I choose a menu item. So they're all, as I said, they're all driven by menu items. So you've got complete control over how that full page works within YooTheme. So 403, and the custom offline, and you can specify here what the offline override. Yeah, okay. If I close that. Yes. Yep. Yeah. But you make them hidden so that they can't be found. What am I going to do? What's a good thing to show you? Yeah, this is how we would do, and you'll see why YooTheme is easier. If I do the single article layouts, I'm going to show you the chef layout. That's how we set up a chef page. So we have rows and columns in the same sort of way as YooTheme would have, and we would add a field here. You choose a field type you want out of all the different field types, and you can then control how that works. So let's say the current restaurant field, which is a custom field. I can choose a wrapper on it, choose the custom field, whether I want to display the label and the value, whether I want to show the value when it's blank, the label value separator. Field options, should I call the content plugin on the value? Do I want to call template layouts? So basically that's where if you have a special custom field and your template overrides the output of that custom field, so we'd call that override first before EasyLayouts displays it. And you can also, this is what I'm talking about with the reusable sub layouts. We have mini layouts in EasyLayouts, which I can insert the mini layouts from EasyLayouts into YooTheme now, but my plan is to make sub layouts reusable, so you can just insert the sub layouts instead. And you can just with this you can just drag and drop the fields around from block to block and change how many columns you have. We already had, if I come down to here, the output framework, and you can even have custom UIKit prefixes. So you can choose whether you're going to display in various old types of Bootstrap or UIKit 3. And the page is generated on the fly. But the point is, I'm using chunks of this code now in YooTheme as opposed to just using EasyLayouts for doing this. What else do I need to show you? Showed you the filtering. So yes, we basically allow you to customize, and this is what I want to extend into YooTheme. Single layouts, featured articles, blogs. So I can basically control the output of a default, a lead item, an intro item, the links that appear in the category blog, the category lists. That's an interesting one. Actually, I can show you that on the demo. List of desserts. Here. So we've got the introduction based on the category, and we can choose the columns and how we want the columns to be displayed using EasyLayouts. Again, something that wouldn't be difficult to migrate into YooTheme as well. Because one thing that's frustrating for me is not being able to control which columns you want to display and how you want each of the elements in that column to be displayed. Oh yes, I was showing you the different types. We have our own EasyLayouts article module, which is a bit like what Peter, where are you, Peter? There, your mega article thing. So basically, it's a bit like what that is. You can choose specific articles, a list of specific articles. You can choose them based on all sorts of different criteria. It's a bit more generic than the Joomla one. Filter module, single article module, articles by category, tags. We can control and manage the layout of tags. Contact forms, you can create custom contact forms. And here the smart search output. We also have a module style wrapper, which is an interesting one, where, in Joomla, when you create a module, you specify the style, the chrome, as it were. We can create our own on the fly to control how a module is displayed. I've actually got that running on, well, I remember. No, I've not got it on here. I had it on the other site. Oh no, it's not there. No, but basically this module here, I could basically put my own wrapper around it, completely free-form wrapper around it in EasyLayouts. And whilst I've gone through them all. Oh, custom templates is more tricky, don't worry about that. And user registration. So that's how we edit the user registration forms and pages. There. So we can change the user registration form there. So as I said, some of what I showed you uses the EasyLayouts generation and injects it into YooTheme, but most of what I showed you is already in YooTheme, and what's not should be doable within YooTheme without too much thinking, but it's mainly the grunt work of doing the JSON and all the options, and then the generating of the template output. So, any other questions?
Very interesting. It solves a problem I have in a recent project of mine, especially the different templates for the same category view. Yeah, it looks very interesting to me. So I would like to try it out, yeah.
Good. If anybody has any other questions or want to see anything more details, you can find me later.